Hey Stephen, how you doing?
Hey Tom, I'm good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good actually because I tell you, I had a nice weekend. I've done a lot of work on some numbers, and I think it's going to be a good week. I think that one of the things that always is sort of interesting to me is see the cash match up with the futures. And the
Hmm.
night at 8, when we get started, well, that's right now. You start seeing these stocks start trading too, which is a new thing when you start seeing American stocks trading this time of night. So you can watch that and sort of see what the flow looks like, so to speak. Okay, and we made a high of 63.33 on S&P, and then we sold off on that futures only day on Friday, and then we gapped up a little bit from that sell off on Friday. So this cash marrying up ought to be an interesting process. I'm going to give it a little bit more room than usual before I, do any trades because I wanted to make sure that whatever trend we go with, that we're on the right side of it. But we had a big weekend with our sunrise, and we got to cover some numbers. And I know that I just think that it's good that we do that. We got the join our free version of my T-Buzz TV, and of course YouTube channel's got a lot of good training on it, and help people learn about different things. Especially if they got small accounts, I've got a thing on there turning lemons into lemonades and how to avoid day trading. So some
Hmm.
good stuff there on that YouTube thing. Okay,
Love it. Love it. You've been working hard on that.
yeah. Uh, Risk involved in trading, past performance is not indicative of future results. And at DTI, we always tell you to, pay attention to the risk of the trade before you take the trade.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, we had a real good start to July. We have our upside numbers, our downside numbers. The 3 days are in the 3 day algos in the book. So I guess as we go into tomorrow, we're going to start getting a trend that we can trade for a little bit longer than intraday. So that's good news. And then next week we got some big news out. I got CPI out. You got some earnings reports, Walmart, Home Depot, stuff like that. But I really think that I saw an announcement instead of, I guess, the tariffs going into effect July 9th, it's been pushed off to August 1st. I saw that announcement. And so
Hmm.
that might smooth things out a little bit as more of these trade deals are announced. And we'll see how that falls into play. Of course, we got the big, beautiful bill been passed. But like I told people, I have a date, and you ought to write this date down. I think after July 21st, it's going to be a fun market where it really trends really well, be a little rocky up to that date. Rocky meaning some up and downs, but then I think after that date, you'll start seeing some real real afterburner effects, as we like to say. A lot of push to some new numbers. So that's my opinion.
Love it.
Now, my schedule this week, I've got tomorrow, we got Sunrise Master Class, and I've got a 2 hour. I found this is very effective, Stephen, to do a 2 hour train and trade and then come back near the close on Monday to see how the numbers show up where we can really take advantage of what I would call an early trend that develops tomorrow. Because I like to watch Mondays a lot to figure out where that trend for the week is. And I found this was a good way to do it. Split it up a little bit. Do 2 hours followed by a break, coming back at 3:30. And of course, on Monday night we have the Futures First training that we do every Monday night. Tuesday we have a connect the dots for all the all stars there on Tuesday. Wednesday we got our second half meeting with my Zebra crew. Boy, Zebra was an interesting subject or interesting group. We everything we touched went down initially in the first few trades, and there were good stocks. It's just bad timing. but we ended up 16% up for the half on Zebra, and now we're got a little wind behind our sails. I think we're going to do really good in Zebra the second half. Flash wrap up Wednesday afternoon at 3:30. And of course, a midweek market update we call WOW Wednesday night. Thursday, we've got the Academy. And then Friday, I called a flash meeting at 9 early in the morning on Friday. I wanted to do that because we've got such news items coming out and give everybody a head start before we get to the weekly wrap up at 3. A busy week, but a lot of chance to educate, learn, and me be with you. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. Okay.
Got it. You keep yourself busy, Tom. We love that.
Well, I just like in a market that gives us an opportunity, it really works out nice. If you look at E-mini right now for the year, we're up 5.92%, very positive. NASDAQ's up about 8, Dow's up about 4. Europe's been very strong all year, up 20. Gold's still up 26. And crude, by the way, is down 8, but tonight it gapped down, Stephen. So they're going to be pumping more oil into the crude market. I expect lower prices there, crude.
Yeah, it's crazy that that's down on the year with everything that went on in the Middle East just a couple of weeks ago. That's impressive.
Phenomenal. We're at these prices, but if you start breaking 65, 64, you're going to see some lower prices here in July. So we'll take care of that. But I'm just saying it's just a real opportunity for people to pay attention to all these markets.
Yeah.
Just got to wait for the setup.
Absolutely.
News this week, crude oil inventories on Wednesday, 10:30. And then we got the FOMC meeting minutes. That's always a market mover at 2 o'clock. Thursday, got jobless claims. People will be paying attention there. And then 30-year bond auction coming out at 1. Keep your eye on that one. What are probabilities? Very strong all week, isn't it? After coming into this week positives, that's a very interesting set of statistics there over the past. July traditionally is a very good month for the stock market. Okay, and so it looks like it's playing out that way as you look at it.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Here's the 10 tickers. I started this about 2 years ago, and people said they really loved it, so I kept doing it. And then just recently, I said in my TNT, T-Buzz Talk and Trade, I'll do some options off these when they set up. But here's my 10 for the week. Typically, I'll tell all the new people, just to let you know that, and this is important, I'll tell all the new people that usually 3 to 4 of these will be big payers for the week. So you ought to set alerts on your computer at these numbers. I give them to people on Sunday night. We narrow it down on Monday afternoon with our weekly newsletter, but it's pretty coordinated here. Let me go through the numbers. Oracle above 240.55 becomes a big buy. NVIDIA above 160.55. On computer above 58.55. I like the nuclear sector. If it gets above 38.55, we might get a run there. CoreWeave made the chart this week above 173.55. Dave, something new that I've been talking about for a while. I got a number now above 285.55. QQQ bullish above 558.55. SPY bullish above 627. And I did this, Stephen, because you always can get a correction week. I put some numbers in case the market broke down. SPY below 609.44 and the QQQ below 542.44. There's the numbers for the week. Take a picture of this slide. It will pay you, and then set alerts on your computer for these prices. If you're in TNT, if they set up, I'll probably do an option trade accordingly. That's the plan.
Amazing. Well, Tom, you talk about setting up those trades and giving value to folks. You've really been nailing the value in the last few, I was going to say weeks, but really months. If you look at these numbers in May, dating back 2-3 months now, You've had 44 total trades with 41 winners and 3 losers. So that's a 93% accuracy, which is outstanding. You wouldn't think that anyone could beat it. But then in June, an incredible 27 and 0, 100% accuracy in June, Tom. And we're going to talk about how you did some of that here in a minute. Then the Sawgrass Conference, you can see it there. 8 trades, all winners, all over the place. CoreWeave, NVIDIA, MU, QQQ, a lot of stocks we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. And then July already off to a roaring start with 3 wins and 100% accuracy. So, Tom, when we talk about numbers like that, it really is incredible to look at those numbers kind of boggle the mind, honestly. So, what would
Yeah,
you
it's
say
really,
it
because
is?
I typically write 4 out of 5 times if you look at my historical, what I do. But I think I'm integrating technology into everything I did before, and it's
Mhm.
helped me have more time to observe the actual movement because instead of me writing and doing all this stuff, I've got the computer doing it. And I'm real proud of the fact, and what we're going to introduce tonight that we introduced on July 4th is that technology now is expanding to probably one of the core reasons a lot of these trades work is I get an early start. Okay. And
I
that's
love that.
called the sunrise signal.
I absolutely love it. So, Tom, let's tell people about it because we are diving right into that. Today, we're going to be talking about a new way to target $250, $500, or even $1,000 a day before lunch, all thanks to a signal that fires before the opening bell even rings. Now, I am excited to dive into this because, Tom, you've been working on this for a long time now. And it's really exciting to see it finally come to fruition and be able to show it off to folks. So let's talk about the legal stuff first and foremost. The profits and performance shown today are not typical. We make no future earnings claims, and of course, you can lose money anytime you put it in the stock market. The trades we're going to be talking about are from historical back-tested data in order to demonstrate the potential of the system. But the average back-tested return per trade, this is really important, winners and losers included. So over all trades is 11.91% per trade. And every example that we're going to be talking about today is based on a $2,000 starting stake, unless we tell you otherwise. The historic success rate is an incredible 77.8%. We cannot guarantee any specific future results as there's always a high degree of risk involved in trading. See our terms on the DTI Trader homepage for more information. Now, in layman's speak, what we're just saying there is you can always lose money in the stock market. There will be losers along the way. What Tom's working on here is not a black box miracle system. His goal is to give you an edge in the stock market. And he's talking about 93% in May, 100% in June, 100% so far this month. That's a really strong edge. But with that said, you can't handle a losing trade. You shouldn't be putting money on the line. There's options. You can paper trade. You can take your time, but don't take risks that you can't afford. And losses can happen and will happen in the future. Now, with that said, I'm Stephen Ground, and I have a question. What if there was a way to target $250, $500, or even $1,000 each day, all thanks to a signal that fires before the opening bell even rings? I'm talking about a way to target a couple $100 a day or more while most folks are still stuck in traffic on the way to their boring day jobs. Now, for some of you tuning in, that might sound a little far-fetched. But as you'll soon see, according to the trading legend joining me today, it's now possible thanks to one of the most powerful and often overlooked signals in the market. For example, look what happened in his study according to, or excuse me, on May 21st. While most people were dreading the start of their workday, thanks to a little known signal on CoreWeave that took place before the opening bell, anyone could have clicked a few buttons to jump in right after the market opened and watched as the stock exploded higher all day long, handing over a $508 payout in just a few hours. And then the next thing, same exact thing the next day. While most folks were still swapping stories at the water cooler, trying to pass time at the day job, anyone could have caught the sunrise signal on Tesla, which fired before the markets opened, and they could have placed a quick trade right after the opening bell. And when things worked out, watched a cool $473 hit in their trading account before the end of the day. And then just a few days later, exact same thing. While most folks were stuck in boring meetings, and I know we've all been in more than a few of those, anyone could have seen one quick signal on NVIDIA, again, firing in the morning before the opening bell, and then placed the trade while they were out for a morning walk and cashed in with 491 bucks when it was all said and done. It's all thanks to this one incredibly powerful signal that my guest has found that fires each morning in the 8 a.m. window. My guest calls it the sunrise signal because just by checking this one signal at 8 a.m. after the sun rises, you can use it to target 250, 500, or even $1,000 or more before the end of the day. For example, look what his study shows back on May 5th. Here's the sunrise signal. You can see it right there, lighting up like fireworks at 8 a.m. And as you'll soon see in just a moment, that was a surefire sign that stocks would trend higher later in the day. So all anyone had to do was click a few buttons after the opening bell to place a quick trade and then come back later to see a quick 25% return on MU. Now, let's say someone had put $2,000 into that trade. Again, that's the stake we'll be talking about with every example from here on, unless otherwise stated. That would have been enough to pay out a handsome $500 all by checking one signal before the opening bell. And you wouldn't have had to wake up at the crack of dawn. You don't have to check this signal right at 8 a.m. You wouldn't have had to stare at stock charts either. Folks just needed to check one quick signal before the opening bell, wait a few minutes, and then place a trade. And that's it. And the beautiful thing is, while we almost always get an opportunity each day, some days we get more than one. Like that very same day, May 5th, the sunrise signal picked up on not one, not two, but three high-powered entries for us. The first one, that Micron example we just talked about, 500 bucks. The second one on GLD, which would have paid out 457 dollars, and then the third one, QQQ, which would have paid folks $404 before dinner. All told, from that one day following the sunrise signal, the signal that fires before the markets ever open, anyone could have collected $1,362 with a few clicks of the button. Now, for most folks, that's like adding an extra paycheck with just a few minutes work, and it's all before your morning coffee even gets cold. Now, as great as that is, we've only scratched the surface on what the sunrise signal is capable of. Because before the end of this briefing, my guest is going to reveal the real opening bell that most traders don't even know about, how anyone can spot the sunrise signal before the markets open, the 30-minute no man land that is killing your profits. That's a huge insight. The simple double confirmation step to help protect against market reversals, and how he's made it even quicker than ever to follow along by automating the entire process, plus a whole lot more. But first, I want to properly introduce today's legendary guest and the mastermind behind these groundbreaking sunrise signals. Now, a lot of you know him, but this man began his breakthrough trading career in the 1970s. In 1992, he was one of only 50 professionals to be handpicked by the CME to receive his very own Globex terminal. So he's not new to making technology his edge in the stock market. He even helped manage a firm so successfully that it was eventually bought out by the $7.9 trillion institution Morgan Stanley. But this man's Wall Street legacy pales in comparison to what he's delivered for his students since founding DTI back in 1996. Just listen to some of the very best stories from top students following his work over the years. Jim P. wrote in to tell us a total of $2,600 or $2,060. Great way to start the month. Please pass along my thanks to Tom. And then there's Ken who said, I love its simplicity. It's a great tool to trade. Picked up an extra $3,200 today. And I love Manny O's story. Just to let you know that I've had my fifth win in trading, 135.3% ROI. You're the greatest and the most patient with me. A lot of folks have had that experience with the trading legend joining me tonight, Tom Busby. I'm very excited to be here with him. You've seen him on CNBC, CNN, Bloomberg. He's the author of 3 books, one of which he's going to tell us about here in just a minute. So, Tom, thank you so much for being here. We're really excited. Can you tell us more about the sunrise signal and how you discovered it?
Hey, Stephen, I'd love to. And as I mentioned, I built my career on trading the 24-hour markets, and that's where the Globex came in there. And the 24-hour markets are the key to everything you see. In fact, the details I'll share with you today are so important that I even published a whole book on it called The Markets Never Sleep. You see, most people assume the trading day starts at 9:30 when the opening bell rings in the morning. Not true. If you only focus on what happens after the opening bell, you're behind the eight ball. You're actually missing the most important signal in the entire market. The truth is, Wall Street's day doesn't start at 9:30 like most people assume. It starts much earlier, around 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 a.m. And as soon as they fire on their computers, setting the first trades of the day, they send a signal that can help tell us the direction for the rest of the day. And by following that signal, which hits every morning at 8, we're able to hop in on some of their biggest bets once the market's open, then ride it higher all day long. For example, look what happened on NVIDIA back on May the 13th. There it is at 8 o'clock on May the 13th, right there, Wall Street fired off on the sunrise signal. And as I explained sooner, this meant that NVIDIA had a darn good shot for soaring higher all day long. So Stephen, had you set a basic trade, you'd walk away with a quick $508 on NVIDIA that day.
That's really awesome.
Let's see it again, this time on Micron, back in April. Now, back in April, the headlines were calling for economic doom. Y'all remember, as usual, but that really didn't matter at all. Because once again, on April 24th, the sunrise signal fired off at 8 o'clock, setting the table, so anyone could have simply ignored the forecasters, taking 2 minutes or less to set a quick trade, knowing that MU was likely to head higher all day long. And anyone who did that could have banked $491 with just a few clicks of the button. See, each day, hundreds of Wall Street traders, pits, and counter algorithms come online right around 8 o'clock in the morning. Just look at this chart of the average volume in the early morning. As you can see, there's very little activity before 8 o'clock. But then look what happens. A massive volume spike occurs around 8 o'clock as Wall Street starts waking up.
That's huge.
That's when Wall Street places its bets on when stocks are going to go for the rest of the day, before most people even start paying attention. You need to. Now, of course, you don't have to be active at 8 to reap the rewards from the early birds on Wall Street. You just have to watch for the sunrise signal, then place a trade right after the opening bell to piggyback on the stocks that's most likely going to send higher for the rest of the day. For example, look back on April 24th, this time on Palantir. Back in April, we were in the midst of tariff chaos, and the markets had whipsawed like crazy the day before. VIX was still highly elevated, making it very difficult to predict where stocks would move next, unless you knew about the sunrise signal. Because that morning, while the markets were quiet, prior to 8, Palantir jumped like crazy. That's a surefire sign that Wall Street was waking up and starting their trading day. And when it did, the first thing they wanted to do was pile into the stock. That's our sunrise signal telling us that this stock was primed to go higher and higher all day long. And that's exactly what happened. Had anyone had jumped on the sunrise signal where the markets open, could have made a quick $456 in a few hours. You see, Wall Street loves getting in early on some of their favorite stocks well before the opening bell rings. That's because their starting days around 8. They can trade after they have a chance to process all the overnight news while the European trade desks are still open before major U.S. economic news drops at 8:30. And when Wall Street starts buying a stock in the pre-market, you will often see that stock run higher all day long. Meaning anyone who can spot the sunrise signal in real time can potentially ride those waves higher for a shot at quick payouts. Like with NVIDIA on May 27th. That was the first day back from Memorial Day, sort of like the first day back from July 4th. Left the markets reeling. With more tariff fears on deck, how could anyone be confident markets would open higher the following week? By checking the sunrise signal, of course, volume started jumping on NVIDIA at 8, just like we'd think. And the sunrise signal confirmed the stock was ready to move higher. So the key time's 8 o'clock. Then shortly after the markets opened, NVIDIA shot higher and was confirmed as the sunrise signal predicted, paying out a nice $474 to anyone who followed along.
Well, Tom, that's really impressive. I'm blown away by what we're seeing so far, and these examples are coming fast and furious. On just those last two you showed us, those sunrise signals, any trader could have picked up an extra $930 in just two trades. Now, someone who had been twice as confident could have made $1,860 before the weekend. And Tom, that's enough to finally help folks spend the weekend how they want to. Maybe that is covering the green fees at the weekend almost anywhere they want to go, or even a joyride for two in the car of your dreams. Maybe it's just saving money for a rainy day. It really doesn't matter how anyone spends the money. What matters is that folks could have had that flexibility all thanks to the sunrise signal. And Tom, you're really no stranger to showing folks these kinds of returns. We've already talked about it a little bit, but just hear some of these stories from top students who have been in Tom's other services. Laura P's been working with Tom for years. I've met Laura. Listening to Tom puts money in your pockets, even on these crazy days. Yesterday had 9 trades, all winners, $2,200 profit. Really incredible. Or there's Denise W. who wrote, so far I've had only winning trades, but more important to me is how much I learn every time. Thanks, Tom. And that really is the key. And here's Bruce L., who put it simply, when I follow Tom, I make money, plain and simple. Tom is committed to helping you all the way through the trade. But Tom, the sunrise signal is something brand new that even Laura, Denise, and Bruce will be completely amazed by. So tell us, can we make money on just any stock that Wall Street moves higher at 8 a.m.?
Of course not, Stephen. If it's that easy, everybody just look at the CNBC and buy what they said was up. Everybody would make a killing off of it. Let me remind folks right now, there's no system that's perfect. We have some great success in our research, but losses can and will happen. That's just part of the trading game. Fortunately, you don't have to guess at the top stocks today. You just have to know what to look for and the time to look for that. And more importantly, when to look for it. Let's talk about the open bell again. Well, the major players own the 8 o'clock time frame. At 9:30, the floodgates open. All the orders from overnight across all the markets come into play across the entire market. Not only are the vast majority of retail traders lining up to finally react to overnight news, there's also a flood of trades that were made overnight are finally processing at that time, 9:30. That surge creates the biggest volume spike of the entire day, and it dwarfs the volume at 8. Take a look at that chart. You see what we're talking about? Look at that volume right there. That's what happens right after the market opens. And it can ruin you if you're not careful. I call that the 30 minutes of no man's land. Because if you step out into it, you're likely to get hurt bad. Odds go way down. You can see it in the second chart. The orange line shows how much stock prices bounce around in the first 30 minutes of the day. In over 40 years, I've only found one way to navigate that no man's land successfully. Stay out of it. Because Wall Street might well be wading through the chaos, quietly adding to the positions they started building at 8. There's no way of knowing it when the open bell hurricane is still raging. Fortunately, you don't have to wait long. About 10 o'clock, 10:10 exactly, the dust starts to settle. The clear pack leaders continue to charge higher. And that's the what we're looking for. I call it bingo. Look, one more time at the chart. 10 o'clock, chaos drops off. Initial flood of trading activity dies down, and we can quickly see which positions from 8 a.m. are still trending higher. The ones that made it through the madness are still going higher. The ones that give us that shot to target $500 or more before lunch. For example, take a look again at NVIDIA, this time on May 6th. As always, we saw in the pre-market volume spike right at 8, telling us in play, and the sunrise signal showed NVIDIA moving higher. But check out what happens at the opening bell. Watch this. This is where people get suckered in. The biggest volume spike of the day, NVIDIA sank during the chaos. Traders who jumped right at the opening bell would already be selling out and running for the hills. But if you waited a half hour to that 10-10 magic time, look how quickly volume drops back to normal levels. And almost as soon as that happened, NVIDIA started moving higher again. And that was a surefire sign that NVIDIA was a top stock for today and ready to soar. And that's exactly what happened the rest of the day. Anyone who's seen the sunrise signal was alerted, waiting for the chaos to die down, waiting for the correct time, watch the stock climb at 10 a.m., bang, could have snagged another $500 on NVIDIA before quitting time. Simply by waiting till after the opening bell and trading the stocks that passed the test at 8 and 10. We're able to set ourselves up to target $500 or more and slam the laptop shut if we want to. Like with Palantir on May the 30th. Now, you probably know it's been a wild year for Palantir stock, but late May was a bit of a rough patch. At the end of the month approach, Palantir suffered 3 straight losses, and the MACD technicals had turned into bearish territory. To the naked eye, it didn't seem like a good day to go all in on this tech stock unless you knew about the sunrise signal. In the early morning, the markets were dead quiet until right around at 8 o'clock when volume started to climb fast. And the sunrise signal fired right when we expected to. More than enough to tell us that Wall Street had shaken off the bad news and bullish on Palantir for the day. If you jumped right at the open, that would have been a mistake. Don't do it. Volume spike, just as we think, right at the bell chime, sending stocks into sideways tailspin for the first 30 minutes. But over the same time frame, volume cooled down. At 10 got here, it was clear Palantir was ready to rip. And you could have had high confidence the stock would jump from there. And it sure did, absolutely soaring over the next 60 minutes. And anyone who jumped in at the right time could have scored $500 on Palantir in just a little over an hour.
That's impressive.
Now, Stephen, I know our audience is sharp as a tack. Let me run through just one more quick example to show exactly how powerful the sunrise signal is. Let's look at AMD. Y'all know I like this stock. On May the 23rd, AMD had really a rough start in 2025, singing all year long, and then getting hammered by the tariff panic. In fact, the very morning NASDAQ published an article encouraged traders not to panic yet, despite an awful start to the year. But that didn't quiet the storm in the early hours of the market. Until, you guessed it, 8 o'clock came. Set your watch. Volume spiked immediately at 8. Sent AMD in reverse. The clear sunrise signal projected that stock would move higher all day long. And anyone who's seen it would have ignored the rest of the pre-market movement, tuned out when it continued to chop around in no man's land. But right at 10, crystal clear sign that Wall Street was back in charge, moving the stock, then rode it higher all day long. This time collected a quick $508 in the process.
Wow, Tom, this sunrise signal is really incredible. I'm loving what I'm seeing here. My quick math is correct on just those three trades that you just showed us. Folks could have added another $1,508 in extra cash for folks at home. And Tom, each of those trades could have cashed in before lunchtime. Now, I'm impressed, but of course, I'm not really surprised that you're once again showing your traders how to seize the chance for some quick cash from the stock market. You made a career doing just that, especially since you founded DTI almost 30 years ago. Just here's some stories from Tom's most successful students in his other flagship programs. Carlos G. from Texas wrote, "Good morning, Tom. 1 week ago, I bought a 25-cent option, and the next day it closed at $1.25. That was 5 times my original investment. A lot of money very quickly." And then there's Bobby, who added, "The program is amazing, up over $2,000 today." And then there's Emmanuel O from New Mexico. "Tom's a great teacher. I made around $2,200 from one trade. Keep up the good work." Now, Tom, as much as I love those stories, I can't wait to hear from traders who follow your sunrise signals from now on. Heck, I'm almost tempted to quit my own day job and focus on these signals each and every day.
Stephen, I'm flattered because that sunrise signals really can be a game changer. But I should be clear. If you have a day job, don't quit it. Of course, there's nothing guaranteed with these sunrise signals, and you should never risk more than you can afford to lose. And like with any other strategy, there's been smaller wins than those that didn't work out along the way. But more importantly, you don't have to quit your day job to follow these signals. Because as we've seen time and time again, you only need a few minutes at a couple key times each day to follow the sunrise signal.
Well, that's a great point, Tom, and I'm sure a few folks will be relieved to hear I'm not giving up on my day job just yet. But I have to ask, what's stopping folks from following the sunrise signal as soon as the markets open again tomorrow?
There's nothing stopping folks from jumping in on the sunrise signal tomorrow. In fact, they can set their alarm at 8 each day and get to work looking for the best opportunity. But think about it. If you just wanted to track the S&P 500, that's 500 stocks you have to monitor today. This is what gave me the advantage taking it to technology. And then again at 10, meaning you were spending hours in front of your computer. It could have been spent sleeping in, doing the crossword, even taking a morning joyride. With that much to do, you might have missed winners that our research team found on stocks like 491 on NVIDIA in April, 500 on the QQQ in May, 508 on MU in June. And I can't blame you. I might not have seen them either if I was doing it all on my own. But fortunately, I have a whole team of experts who help me do this. DTI team has over a century of combined experience in the markets. And it's clear with this powerful software and our expert team, we're able to code a sunrise algo specifically designed to track these opportunities. The best of the best. And it's not just manpower. We spent over $500,000 to build this custom software that helps us track these sunrise signals. Turning hours of grueling, mind-numbing work each morning in just a few clicks of the button. Each morning, algo scans the market for sunrise signal right at 8:10 a.m. This means we already know that stocks were set to trade before the opening bell. We got a list of them, and we're waiting. The strongest signals get posted to a private Telegram channel with our members, but there's no need to wake up early because the fun really begins at 10 o'clock. That's when the algo picks the best of the best stocks that survived the opening bell chaos and are still trending higher. Like our study shows what happened with CoreWeave back on May the 2nd. Traders could have spotted the sunrise signal or just read the update in our Telegram channel. And even though the markets opened hot that day, the 10 a.m. signal showed there was still a lot of gas left in the tank. Our readers would have only had to check the alert shortly after 10. Easy to read, easy to see. From there, CoreWeave would still climb almost 5% more that day.
Wow.
Enough to pay another $483 to anyone that would listen. And this is Eastern time, folks. Nobody had to dig through 500 stocks. Nobody had to open up a ton of charts. They just waited for that on that day sunrise signal alert and placed a trade. And they could have done it again on May the 27th. Because that day the sunrise signal fired on Tesla. Look at it. At 10 a.m. it's clear the momentum wasn't stopping. Our readers wouldn't have had studied the charts. They could have just waited to alert at 10. There it is. With perfect timing because Tesla continued to soar all day. I think it was up 30 or 40 bucks that day, if I remember correctly. And anyone who followed the alert could have been $492 richer by the end of the day.
Wow, Tom, I know for a fact that you've let a very small group of your top students beta test this Sunrise algo already. In fact, just a few of them have already sent in love letters to your team, and they're pretty incredible. Bob told us, love the Sunrise Trade service, gives me the biggest bang for my bucks of any service out there. And then T summed it up perfectly. He said, it's like getting a personal meeting with Tom early in the morning. The sunrise signal and a cup of coffee are all I need to start my day. I love those stories. And Tom, with everything you've shown us today, it's really no surprise that the traders who have seen this already love it. But the last I heard, the sunrise signal was a closed and reserved beta for only your elite members. So how long do the rest of us have to wait?
Well, Stephen, I got good news about that. First, I want to say something. I think the sunrise signal has always been important, but it's never been more important than it is right now. Probably don't need to tell you that the markets are now driven by news more than ever. In fact, according to the Financial Times, automated trading systems now dominate market volume with news reading algos reacting to headlines as little as 300 microseconds.
Wow.
That's quick. And when do these algos fire on? Right around 8 o'clock in the morning. So if you're not paying attention to the sunrise signal right now, you honestly don't have a prayer keeping up with Wall Street, let alone the algos that power them. But simply by following this one signal each morning, you'll be miles ahead of the average Joes and ready to target that $250, $500, or even $1,000 before the opening bell even rings. Just like I'm going to show my traders how to do it every day. And for that reason, I'm going to do something I didn't expect to happen for months yet. Because you're right, Stephen, the sunrise beta test is closed. And it was supposed to stay that way for a little bit longer. But over the last few weeks, our team dropped everything to focus on getting this ready for immediate release, and we got it. And today, I'm happy to say we met our goal and we're able to open the doors months ahead of schedule. So I'm thrilled to invite 100 of our listeners to join me inside this brand new trading service called Sunrise Signal. You could have guessed it. This is the only algorithm monitoring the sunrise signal designed to help traders target $250, $500, even $1,000 before lunch. And each and every trade alert is generated in real time, sent directly to our readers wherever they are, whatever they're doing. Because the moment you join us today, you'll be invited to jump inside our exclusive members only Telegram channel. You'll never have to search for alerts, so it'll be right there. You'll never have to dig through spam email to find the latest trade. And each day you'll get the full sunrise signal experience right inside the Telegram channel. Starts at 8 with the sunrise signal. Each morning, our algorithm will send you a list of stocks firing off that morning. You won't have to lift a finger, just scan the list anytime before 10. You have the hottest opportunities top of mind, which would have come in handy back on June the 11th. That morning, the algo told us to go long on Palantir. And anyone who followed the process placed a quick trade after 10 could have scored a big $480 winner. But you wouldn't have had to guess at 10 a.m. about whether Palantir was still a good trade, because each morning shortly after 10, our superpowered algo runs another scan. Here's the key, and only the cream of the crop that meet our ideal entry criteria make the cut. When they do, we'll send out a live entry alert directly to you on the go, giving you the entry price, profit target, and stop loss, even if information for selecting the options right in the palm of your hand. Just what would have happened the very next day. The alert would come to your phone with explicit instructions on exactly what to do. You have the ticker, you have the entry price, you have the options instructions, you have your target, and you have your stop loss. All right there. Even your rules on how to hold the long trade. It's all in there, which would have made following instructions on MU a piece of cake. So you could have tapped a few buttons when the alert came to your phone at 10 and spent your time however you wanted. Hey, maybe invited some friends over for breakfast while this is going on. Or taking the dogs out for a quick stroll. Even played a few rounds of tennis. Only to come back a few hours later when things worked out, find a nice big winner on MU. Scoring 476 in just a few hours.
Well, Tom, that's impressive. Even more than impressive, honestly. I mean, if someone had put just $5,000 into each of those two trades, which happened back-to-back days, as you just showed us, they'd be sitting on $2,401 with just a few minutes work. But Tom, I have to ask, some of those are quick moving trades. So wouldn't you need to be glued to your phone to close them as winners?
Absolutely not. That's not the way we do it. Because there's a little trick you could do to make sure that when they work out, these trades close automatically without breaking a sweat or even looking at your phone. I call it the profit lock technique. It's a busy trader's absolute best friend. Because with just a few quick steps at any time you place a trade, you now have peace of mind knowing that the stock hits the target, your gains will be locked in. And as a member, you'll unlock a free PDF telling you exactly how to use the profit lock on every trade.
Tom, I've actually used the profit lock myself a few times and it's saved me more than once, honestly. Winning trades when I was in a long business meeting, watching a soccer game one time, and even one time while I was driving home in the middle of a thunderstorm. So I know folks are going to love that. It's a huge advantage. But let me hit you with another question. Do I need to be some sort of options expert to get the most out of sunrise signals?
That's a great question, but the answer is no. Sunrise Signal is a fantastic pro for beginners and experienced traders alike. Of course, you can always trade the underlying stock if you prefer. But if you're ready to start your options trading journey, we've got you covered there too. Because the team at DTI took a lot of time to build what I believe is the ultimate option education course, Options Made Simple, combining over 100 years of experience and expertise with every option strategy under the sun. Our team created this condensed video course to take you from rookie to veteran in no time. And it's already waiting inside your members area as soon as you join. But Stephen, I'm not stopping there either. I'll be hosting a brand new live masterclass on the Sunrise Signal tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And each and every student who joins Sunrise Signals today is invited to join us absolutely free.
Amazing.
We'll cover the origins of the Sunrise Signal, how you can find it on your own if you want to, and how to place the trades, how to follow everything going on in Telegram, and so much more. Think of it like your live blueprint of getting the most out of your new membership.
Well, Tom, I know that you've charged $497 or more for classes like that in the past, and they've been worth every penny. I mean, just hear some of the top stories from students who have attended those classes in the past. Barbara P. wrote in, your training this morning was extremely helpful. Thank you for all your time in teaching and training. Very much appreciated. Paulie shouted you out. Thank you, T-Buzz. This is great training that allows me to stay focused on the market targets. And Oscar said the train and trade sessions you've been having have been priceless, and with the education presented, they're worth the time in gold. Thanks for all the hard work you put into providing that education for us, Tom. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm willing to bet a lot of money that the Sunrise Masterclass will be more than worth the cost of admission alone. Speaking of which, Tom, I do have to ask you again, what is this going to cost, folks? I mean, just a moment ago, you showed us two trades that could have paid $2,401 in a matter of days. Pretty incredible. But members are going to get access to every Sunrise Signal algorithm spots right inside the private Telegram channel, which, when it's all said and done, could add up to hundreds of alerts over a single year. So what will it cost? I mean, $5,000, $39.97.
Steve, I agree that access to Sunrise Signal is worth a whole lot, but folks should breathe easy. We're here live tonight. And before I reveal today's price, there's one more big surprise I want to show folks. A few years back, Roger Scott and I joined forces to teach folks the Daybreak Master Class. At the time, we were focused on trading in the pre-market. We offered a 4-week class at a rock bottom price of $295. Now, to be clear, you won't need to trade in the pre-market to make the most out of the sunrise signals, but it doesn't hurt to learn. The techniques we taught in the Daybreak Masterclass can give you a huge advantage in understanding the sunrise signal. And today, we'll offer the recordings of that class free as soon as you join this brand new service. They'll be yours to keep forever as a thank you for joining the sunrise signals.
Wow, Tom, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, honestly, I remember the Daybreak Masterclass. It was incredibly helpful to me to help me understand what makes stock moves before and, like you said, even after the opening bell. I can't believe you're now including that for free for every new member of Sunrise Signals. It just adds more to the value here, an incredible value. So what is it going to cost? Because I can't even begin to think of a fair price to unlock all of this.
Well, Steve, you mentioned earlier these two most recent trades from our study. 1190, 1210s adds up to 2401 in a few days with a few clicks of the button. Sound like a fair price for 1 year of sunrise signals? You know, we're talking about the potential for alerts 100 days, 100 plus days of the year, but I know times are tight, and I wouldn't want to be priced to be a barrier to have everybody have this entry to everyone out there. So we've got two special bonuses I think everyone here is really going to love. Listen up. First, we'll cut the price in half with $1,000 founders discount, immediately dropping the price to $1,401, but I'm not stopping there. I'm proud of the track record we built. You saw it. And according to our study, Sunrise Signal Trade are winning trade alerts 77.8% of the time. We're winning nearly 4 out of 5 trades. And tight stop losses or losses average about 30% when we lose. With each winner has been capable of delivering $250 for every $1,000 invested. And with all that said, my favorite feature is how affordable these sunrise signals are. Because our study, the average trades cost about $302 to enter. And that brings me to my last bonus. Let's go ahead and sponsor the very first trade with the sunrise signal. Meaning immediately knocking off another $302 off the price of your new membership and bringing the total price down to $1,099 for your first year.
Wow.
So here we are. We're going to drop the link in about 20 seconds. Time to decide. Keep running headlong into the teeth of the algorithms dominating Wall Street, or follow along these trades each morning with me and the sunrise signal. Now it's time to make a decision. Let's do it. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532. If you got any questions, ask them. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532. get that lower price tonight. Now, folks, if that price got you excited, this is going to knock your socks off because this is going away, right, Stephen? In honor of today's big holiday, we offer one more exciting discount limited this weekend only. If you join, you're automatically going to be upgraded to a 2-year membership at no additional charge. That goes away. An extra year on a house just to celebrate Independence Day together. Because as I said, I do believe that today will be a major turning point in the markets. And I want you to take full advantage of these 2 years with me in the Sunrise. But I have to stress, this is a limited time offer. In fact, it ends tonight at midnight. So take advantage now before that time expires. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532.
Tom, I mean, what you put together here is absolutely incredible. I can't believe you just made it even better. And like you said, Tom, folks, that price ends tonight at midnight. Now, I can't wait to hear stories from the first folks who are joining Sunrise Signals as we speak. Stories like those from top students in your other flagship services. Wayne wrote in, there's no one in the business that does a better job of teaching the ins and outs of the market. He cares about your success. There is no one that does it better than Tom. And then Kevin wrote in, I've been with a client of T-Buzz since November. This week, I was up $6,000. Tom and his team will teach you how to not make mistakes and lose money. And then SP put it very simply, Tom Busby is one of the best timing traders I know, and I'm glad to be learning from him. Hopefully, several of our listeners here today will be the next to share a story like that, but it all starts with a decision. Like Tom says, chicken, fish, or steak, you got to go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532 to claim not only your founder's discount, not only the first trade scholarship, but that special pricing that ends tonight at midnight. Tom, I'm absolutely in love with this. I can't wait for people to join you and get the class tomorrow morning. I almost forgot about that.
Don't forget about that. That's going to be kicking us off, right?
Absolutely.
Remember, folks, Sunrise Signals is the only way I know of to watch all these stocks in a timely manner to find the best stocks to put your money on each and every morning. Showing us opportunities you might never see otherwise. Like, remember our example we gave on Palantir from May the 30th? At the end of the month approach, Palantir suffered 3 straight losses, and technicals that turned south into a bear market. To that naked eye, it didn't seem like a good day to go all in on that one, unless you knew about the sunrise signal. In the early morning, the markets were dead quiet. Right at 8, the volume started climbing fast. Sunrise fired, and we expected to, and then it was bullish at 10, shaking off the bad news, became bullish for Palantir for the day. If you jumped right in at open, been a mistake. Volume spiked, and then sending stocks in a tailspin for the first 30 minutes. But over that same time frame, volume cooled down. And then 10 came around, Palantir was ready to rip higher, and you could have had high confidence stock would jump from there, which it did, and sure did, absolutely soaring over the next 60 minutes. That's the value, folks. And anyone who jumped in at the right time would have scored $500 on that trade in a little over an hour. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532. Get that special discount.
Tom, it looks like some folks are already piling in, which I love. Give us a shout out in the chat so we can say hello if you're a new member tonight. But before we go and look over there, I do want to dive into a couple of questions that I know we're going to hear, Tom. So let's get to those first. How much do folks need to get started today?
Yeah, the average trade is $302. I'd recommend having at least 2,000 in capital. You put at risk in an account so you never risk it all in one trade.
All right. Now, do I need to be an options expert?
Absolutely not. You can trade the underlying stock if you wanted to, or just access to the training and members area where you can learn about trading options in no time.
All right. Now, how many trades will there be in a year?
That's hard to say exactly, but with the sunrise signals potentially firing every day, I expect no less than 100 great trades over the next year.
Wow, that's incredible value. That's less than 10 bucks a trade. Are we risking big 100% losses if the trades go against us?
Hey, while nothing's guaranteed in the markets, DTI has always believed in cutting your losses, and this is no exception. Our average loser from the study was under 30% because we have tight stop rules for every trade we place.
That really is a huge advantage, Tom. I mean, a lot of services out there will take those big swings and
Yeah,
accept
all or nothing.
losses, but you're doing it a different way, and I know folks love that. Now, does the sunrise signal work on any stock out there?
It does. The reason you've seen a short list of stocks today is because we focus on strong trending stocks to begin with. And that way, you're never fighting against the overall market. It's another way we've helped build a 77% win rate on sunrise signals.
I love that. Now, is there any kind of guarantee with this service?
Yeah, this is the beauty of it. Get in there tonight, try it out. Yes, of course, our team will give you 14 days to join. Get into the Telegram channel, attend the trainings and the master class. You're not fully satisfied, we'll refund every penny of your membership. That's a no-brainer.
That's amazing. Yeah, that makes it an absolute no-brainer to get in tonight. What if somebody needs extra help even outside of your sessions, Tom?
Hey, our incredible customer service team hosts customer service live every Monday through Friday, 10 to 1. Any questions you have, ask them. If they can't answer, we'll get answers to you. And as a member, you get free access to these sessions to get hands-on help with all the membership questions.
And Tom, this may be my favorite question because we're so close. When will the first trade drop?
Well, we're setting up for tomorrow. As soon as Monday at 10, we're going to be live. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532. Remember, the special price ends tonight.
I
Claim your
absolutely love
special
it, Tom.
founder's discount.
I can't wait. And like you said, that trade drops tomorrow at 10 a.m. You should be together live in the masterclass when you do that. Now, Tom, I don't know why my dictionary just popped up, but I know you have one more surprise bonus for folks.
Yeah, Steve, we talked about this. The reason I wanted to do the 5 trades in July, I figure that if I actually, take it through the steps, they'll get so much more out of it. So I'm going to do 5 trades public with you in the month of July. So you got that to look forward to. Okay.
Amazing.
So when they're set up, I'll show them to you. We'll use them for training.
Love it. All right. Well, folks, we're going to dive into the chat here in a second. Menus keep opening on me when I don't want them to. There we go. All right. Go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904-706-3532 to claim your special founders discount today. I'm very excited about sharing this with folks. The link is in the chat. Jonathan was kind enough to post that for us. So thank you, Jonathan, for that. Tom, some questions in the chat. Brooke Stevens is asking, are these day trades?
They can be day trades, swing trades. That's what the master class is about tomorrow, Brooke. I'm going to give you a couple of techniques to use depending on what you want to do. Okay?
Amazing. And I love that. And you've got advice for folks who don't want to deal with the day trading restrictions too. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. That's another part of tomorrow's master class. I've got something that I'll teach you and you go, boy, I wish somebody else would have taught me that. They make it so complicated for people. I go, that's really a terrible rule, and it really penalizes people with less than 25,000 in their account. I'm hoping that it'll be repealed, but until then, I've got a technique that I'll teach you. It works good.
Awesome. Nancy asks, she doesn't have her trading account set up yet. Could she still buy this package now? I know you've got trading accounts that you recommend and can help walk people through that.
Yeah, so Nancy, just ask us tomorrow. We'll give you a suggestion or two during the master class.
Yeah, so get in there, Nancy. Go ahead and join. We'd love to have you, and Tom will answer those questions in the master class. Oscar asks, Tom, do you intend to recommend other stocks or ETFs separate from your top 10 ticker list if you find any that you think might rocket upward?
Absolutely. I have no bounds on what I might say as far as stocks. If they're moving, I'm going to trade what I see.
I love that. And what you've talked about, Tom, is because you've programmed this all to be an algorithm now, it might
got time to find them.
Yeah, it might alert you to things you wouldn't have seen some other way because you've got 500 stocks in the S&P, even more when you add the QQQ.
100 in the NASDAQ, 30 in the Dow, 2,000 in the Russell. Y'all get the picture here, folks? With technology, we have broken the code and are able to see a lot more than I used to see doing it by hand.
Absolutely. Susan C says, thank you. Looking forward to receiving my first sunrise signal tomorrow morning. Susan from Cypress, Texas. Welcome in, Susan. Thank you for being a part of Sunrise Signals. Congratulations. You made a great decision. Very glad to have you. Super excited for you to be here. Let me see.
Also remember, if you come to Sunrise in the morning, you'll also be invited to stay for our train and trade because it's Monday tomorrow. What a great day, huh? We'll be with you all day, pretty much, looking at our schedule.
That's right. Absolutely. Robin's got a wonderful question here, Tom. We've been talking about all of these trade examples for the most part have been that $2,000 starting stake, but she says, so although you have to put up $2,000 to get these profits, you would not be risking the whole $2,000 because of your all bets off or stop loss, right?
No, the minimum option I'm going to do is about $3. So it's about $300, Robin, that you'll be putting up for the actual trade.
Right.
If you're doing it that way. I just said 2,000 would be the minimum you'd want to have to be in this program.
Right. But even if the trade goes against you, you've got that stop loss where you're not, you've been averaging under 30% on the lose.
Right. Exactly.
So that's pretty powerful. David wants to know, will it work in a cash account?
Yeah, it works in a cash account. It works in works in any type of account. You could put, buy the ticker we're talking about.
Love it.
The Sunrise meeting is at 10 o'clock Eastern. 10 o'clock Eastern.
So that'd be 8 a.m. Mountain Time, I think. As Jackie's asking. I'm not great at that, but I think so. Julie, if you want the alerts in the morning, you can join today and go to dtitrader.com/sunrise. If you want the software behind it, that is the roadmap software, and that is actually an option for you to get. And if you join today, you're getting it at a pretty deep discount. So why don't you give the team a call, 904-706-3532. They can walk you through that and walk you through the options. But that roadmap software, Tom, is what you've built. You've spent over $500,000 on it. It's pretty incredible.
It's actually lowballing what I spent.
I know that number's going up now. But
we spent a lot of money. We're still spending money on it.
Yeah. It's absolutely powerful stuff. Folks, keep sending your questions if you have them. I'm trying to look a little earlier here. We're getting great questions tonight. And remember, the masterclass is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. The discounted pricing for 2 years for the same price as 1 year ends tonight at midnight.
And that goes away, right?
Pacific time. Yep, that's gone. So, folks, if you want, this is the best night that you will ever have to join. You won't be any better after this. So,
and let me tell you what some people can do. If you would like to have this deal, if you'll put your name and phone number in here, then we'll reserve a spot for you. And that way one of our salespeople can call and get it booked tomorrow. That way you don't have to stay up late, Julie, if you're trying to, you got to do something else. And all the classes will be recorded. Everything we do, we record because I believe in education, and we'll record everything. Okay.
Perfect. I love that. So Julie, if you want to drop an email or a phone number, only our team's going to see it. We can reach out. I mean, I still think they'll be answering the phones for another at least half hour or hour. But if you want to give your number or your email, please reach out.
Lisa, be sure to put your phone number. That makes it easier on them to call you.
And Jonathan, if you don't mind grabbing a screenshot of those, we can share for the folks on the team afterwards. I would really appreciate that. Jackie says, if I'm already getting the weekly newsletter, will I need to get a new account? I don't know if she means.
I don't know what you mean, Jackie. This is a service, a trade service. The weekly newsletter comes out on Monday afternoon. That's just an overview of what we think is going to be good for that week. This is for capturing things on a daily basis going forward. That or the big payers are ones that we believe are the ones setting up.
If Jackie, if you mean an account in like the members platform, you wouldn't need a new one. It would all be plugged in into one members platform. So maybe that's what you're talking
about. Hey, Nancy, why don't we do this? I'm going to write your number down. I will call you tomorrow at one of my breaks, okay?
Awesome. Love that. Thank you, Tom.
I'm going to write her name right here, Nancy. I
Okay, good.
love talking to new students. 214, got it. Okay, that's Dallas, I think.
Uh, Jackie, all right, glad we got your answer. GS, are these spreads or just call options, Tom, that you're
They
looking?
can be either one. In other words, that's what we're going to talk about during the master class, how you handle each of your different desires. Whether you're doing just a single option you want to stay with, or whether you want to do a spread, whether you want to make it an income trade, all that stuff will be covered.
I love that, Tom. I mean, I could beat the drum all night about how good you and your team are at education. That really is what DTI's bread and butter is. As great as everything you produce is, that really where the baking gets, I'm forgetting. The bread gets buttered, I guess. I was gonna have some fancy expression there, but it escaped me late at night, you know. Jackie says she's signed up and ready to go. Love to hear that, Jackie. Welcome in. I love that. Julie, probably good to call the team or leave your number for us to reach out to your email to get that answered. I'm sure you probably can, but I just don't know off the top of my head, and I'd have to look up accounts and things. Manny, I missed your question. Let me see if I can go back and find it. Uh, Question for Jonathan. Oh, difference between this and one ticker payouts. If that's what you're talking about, Manny. Tom, those are pretty different services, right? One ticker payouts and this.
The one ticker payout is, I think we've got 20 straight winners in that program. Uh, this has got to build a record like that. Hopefully, it will.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, well, Robin, we always do what the market tells us is going down. We'll do puts. We showed you calls tonight. If it's going down, we'll do puts. It works the same way.
Yeah, we haven't even covered that, honestly, Tom, but some of the best trades from the study were on trades to the downside, and we just kept it on trades to the upside to keep it simple for folks. But yeah, certainly if the market reverses or if something changes, although you're not expecting that, you've got your July 21st date coming up. But yeah, the system's very flexible. And Manny, to put a pin in the one ticker thing, the one ticker just trades the QQQ, if I'm correct, Tom, TQQ and
Right.
SQQQ, and this gives you a whole bunch of options on a bunch of different stocks. So there's a lot of flexibility here. Sorry for missing your question, Manny. Never want to do that, but we got a bunch coming in. So thank you for reminding
And
me.
Stephen,
I'll go
I
back
only
and
can
find it.
attribute. I tell people I've been trading for a lot of years, and I usually would tell people I'm about usually right 4 out of 5 times. But the last 3 months, the percentage has been so much better. And I think because I'm making that transition with this technology is uh, giving me more time, I guess, to process a lot of things that you can do manually versus using technology. I love the sunrise signal because of that. Okay.
All right, we got a question here. It says, I'm a TNT member and we had the beta in there. Do I need to sign up for this now? They do have to move over, right? This is going out of TNT and going into its own program. Is
Yes,
that
the beta probe's over.
okay? So that's a good question there. Thank you for asking that. We have one too. I skipped earlier from Oscar. Didn't skip it on purpose. Tom, will you be sending out your screening list of stocks that meet the criteria at 8 a.m.? And if so, where can I find that? That's right inside the Telegram channel,
Yeah,
right?
right inside the Telegram, Oscar.
So as soon as you join and be part of Telegram, it's going to be right there for you each morning. And yeah, that's a good reminder too from the team there. If you are in Talk and Trade, you do want to jump over to make sure you're part of Sunrise Signals because this is now its own service. Jackie, I'm sure Jonathan grabbed your number. They will call and help you get it set up to make sure you're on the right page. Wayne says there's no one in this trading business that is better than Tom and his team. He's honest, he's fair, and he cares about your success. Wayne, I believe we shared a couple of your love letters earlier on, but that's a new one, and I love it. So thank you for sharing that. We just shared that.
And I appreciate that, Wayne, because I do. I know how tough it is to do this game we call trading, and there's just it's not you pull up at a convenience store and they hand you money. You got to work at it. That's why I have these master classes to teach and educate people.
Yeah,
I got the best students in the world. I can tell you that right now.
absolutely. Wayne says you're the best, Tom. And remember, a couple reminders for folks. We'll give a few minutes for questions to keep tuning in, but we got The masterclass tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. You've got special pricing ending tonight at midnight Pacific time. So you've got 6 hours, under 6 hours now to take advantage of that if you want to. We like to let our folks out on the West Coast have some time if they're, winding down their Sunday, but it will end at midnight tonight, and that second year for free will go away. So this is the best time ever to join Sunrise Signals. Make sure you're a part of it. You can get the first signal tomorrow and be good to go. Are there questions I missed here in the chat? We've still got a bunch of folks, Tom.
Hey, Stephen, I appreciate you giving up your Sunday night to be with us.
Of course.
It was a lot of fun doing this with you. And I tell you, it sometimes takes a village, doesn't it, to get all this stuff done.
It does. And Tom, your team put a lot of work into going through this and making sure it came out and was ready for today. So thank you for that. Let me read this question from Oscar. Standard options trades
We'll
layout.
cover that tomorrow during the master class.
Yeah, that'll go through that all in the masterclass. It'll be really straightforward. These are super easy trades to follow. So, Tom, I'm not seeing any more questions. I can stick around for a couple minutes to answer
I'm gonna get ready for tomorrow, folks. Thanks again, Stephen. Thank you, and see everybody on the flip side.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you for being creating Sunrise Signals for us. We really appreciate it. I'm excited for this, folks. I hope that you are as well. Sunrise Signals is live. It's starting, kicking off tomorrow. You can only claim the $10.99 for 2-year price point if you join tonight. So make sure you go to dtitrader.com/sunrise or call 904 706-3532. And let me show you one more time what all goes into this. We can click a little earlier here and I can just show you you're getting the private Telegram channel. Right in the private Telegram channel at 8 a.m. It's getting the sunrise signal fired off in there. The algorithm sending out the list of stocks that morning. You won't have to lift a finger. Just scan the list anytime before 10 a.m., which worked back on June 11th. It had a nice winner on Palantir that the signal fired off for us. If you'd followed it, it would have been a $484 winner. But you wouldn't have had to guess at 10 a.m. because you would have gotten the signal right in the channel. We're talking about the 10:10 a.m. signal. When the live alert comes out, it's got your entry, your exit, everything is ready to go right there at 10 a.m. Look how clean this signal is. It's got your entry, your exit, all the trading information you need. It's going to look like that every day. So you're never going to have to guess about what happens. You're never going to have to put in any information that isn't in there. So you can follow it right at 10 a.m., tap a few buttons, spend your time however you want, and potentially close out a nice winner like that one on my computer's moving real slow now. MU, probably because folks are storming in. So you can see how it works. You're also getting the profit lock technique, which I think is hugely valuable. If you don't know how to do that, it's going to help you automatically close your trades. It helped me close a bunch of trades and that I've had in my career, and I'm a busy guy, so I am not always looking at my Thinkorswim account. So it's easy to find and easy to close those trades with the profit lock. You're getting tons of options education here. You've got the Options Made Simple course, which is DTI's ultimate education course, combining over 100 years of experience from their team. And you've got a whole lot more than that. You've got the masterclass starting tomorrow. You've got the discounts. We talked about $1,000 off, the $300 first trade sponsorship, the Daybreak Masterclass, and for tonight only, the 2-for-1 special where you get that second year free. So I'm not seeing more questions come in, so I'll leave this in Jonathan's capable hands for a minute or two longer, but make sure you go to dtitrader.com/sunrise, click the link in the chat, or give the team a call, 904-706-3532. If for any reason you can't do either of those things before tonight, get your name and number in the chat and we'll have the team call you. We'll hold a spot for you in tomorrow morning's class. But you got to act now if you want the best price on Sunrise Signals and if you want to be a part of that class in the morning. So thank you very much for being here. I appreciate everyone who's already a member. We've got Jackie who's in, Nancy, Dennis, Brooke, We've got Frank, Susan, Laurel, James, Jacob, Christian, a whole bunch of folks are part of Sunrise Signals. Jim, Agnes, Douglas, Grace, a lot of folks, and I hope you add your name to that list. So one last time, dtitrader.com/sunrise or call the number 904-706-3532. And I hope you join Tom in tomorrow morning's class. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all for being here, and I will talk to you very soon.